Battle of Kanwa is perhaps the most important event in the history of northern India and the one which impacted the lives of many. By the end of it, the Rajputs got a taste of what was to come. The Afghans' power was decimated, and Mughals cemented their reign over Delhi in what would turn out to be the most powerful empire in the Indian subcontinent for the next 2 centuries. In this series of videos, we will examine the circumstances that led to the clash of 2 medieval titans and how it altered the course of Indian history. By mid-1520s, Rana Sanga was in a leading position to move in to claim the imperial throne of Delhi after victories over sultanates of Gujarat, Malwa and most importantly Delhi. Not far away, Turkish invader Babur had captured Punjab after several attempts and defeated Ibrahim Lodi at Panipat, thus ending Afghan rule in Delhi and in turn establishing Mughals' empire in India. The 2 behemoths were on a collision course. Before embarking on the conquest of Punjab, Babur had sent envoys to Mewar, asking Rana for his help against Ibrahim Lodi, and Rana had seemingly agreed. Accordingly, it was agreed upon that Babur would march against Delhi and Rana against Agra. But Rana never made his move. Sanga must have thought that just like his ancestor Timur over a century ago, Babur too would soon leave India after plundering the country, but soon enough he noticed that Babur was here to stay after Babur established an administration in Punjab. Sanga made progression into the Rajputana regions which owed allegiance to the Lodis and started making preparations for the inevitable encounter with the Mughals. Mahmud Lodi, brother of Ibrahim Lodi who had escaped from Panipat and proclaimed as the new Sultan of Delhi, was welcomed at Chittor by Rana Sanga and promised assistance against Babur. An alliance was formed to drive out Babur from India. In the meantime, Hassan Khan, ruler of a territory known as Mewat, joined the alliance. After conquering Delhi, in order to consolidate his reign, Babur had 2 possible hurdles, the Rajputs and the Afghans, and he knew he had to deal with both before he could rest easy. After consulting with his war council, he decided to deal with the Afghans first. But the growing power and aggression of Mewar made him change his mind. He became alarmed at the formation of an Afghan Rajput confederacy and decided to abandon his plans to deal with the Afghans for the time being. In order to check further expansion of Rana's influence, Babur instructed his generals to take control of Bayana. In Gujarat, Rana helped solve a scramble for succession by helping the exiled Prince Bahadur to secure the throne, thus forming an alliance between Mewar and Gujarat, which continued to be the most deciding factor in the politics of Western India for the next 5 years. These political developments were accompanied by conflicting religious ideologies of the 2 men. Rana Sanga had seen himself as the champion of Hindu interest and looked forward to establish Hindu rule over Delhi once again, while Babur championed the cause of Islam which had dominated Delhi for over 3 centuries and looked to maintain its supremacy. Thus, religious differences added fuel to the already raging fire. By the end of January 1527, the Rajput army was already marching rapidly in the direction of Agra. On the way, a detachment was left to press the siege of Kandar, where a partisan of Babur held out, but the main army crossed the river Banganga and took the road to Agra. Babur also had been busy collecting his army and by the end of February 1527 reached Fatehpur Sikri. When Sanga reached Ranthambore, he was presented with the royal canopy and tent which had been wrested from Babur's men. The next aim of his march was Bayana, which had fallen into the hands of Babur. He laid siege to the fort in an organized manner and dividing the troops in 4 parts, the front, the rear, the right and the left, and arranging them in the eastern side of the open plain. His trusted nobles of Mewar were posted in the front and the rest on other sides. They put the enemy in a state of blockade. The light forces dispatched towards Bayana from Agra under experienced officers with instruction to check and harass Rana's army in its movement could not achieve its purpose and had to retreat, taking with it some heads and a few prisoners. The consequences of the battle were a foregone conclusion. The besieged lost heart. The only course open to them was to surrender. Several officers of distinction were either killed or wounded. The Rajputs achieved victory around mid-February 1527. Babur lost around 1,500 men. It stands out as a last great triumph in the checkered career of Rana. In Sanga's hands now lay the forts of Chittor, Ranthambore, Kandar, and Bayana, the key points of central India. The Turks found that they had now to contend with a foe more formidable than either the Afghans or any of the natives of India to whom they had yet been opposed. Babur marched out of Agra on 16 February 1527 and reached Mandikar, where he instituted the center of artillery and posted his baggage and camp followers. But finding a better place at Fatehpur Sikri, he removed his camp just close to the hill. Babur had advanced step by step, guarding his camp and men and fortifying his position every evening so as to defeat any night attack and also to ensure a safe base in the event of a forced retreat. In the meantime, the Rajputs, whose energy, chivalry, and fondness for battle and bloodshed doubled by their recent success, marched onwards, animated by a strong national spirit. Led by a hero who was ready to meet face to face the boldest veterans of the enemy's camp. From Bayana, instead of going northeast reaching the enemy directly, he marched towards northwest and halted at Busawar. He did so probably with a view to cut the enemy's line of supply from Delhi and Kabul. But they lost valuable time, about a month in idle speculation, far away from the camp of the enemy, and allowed Babur to complete his preparations. The initiative was lost. But there was some good news. The news of defeat of Bayana brought by the deserters and the stories of bravery of the Rajputs repeated from tongue to tongue damped the spirit of the Mughal army. Despair was writ large on all the faces. But Babur was not the man to falter. He took the step of rejuvenating energy in his men by renouncing wine. Missing the opportunity of surprising the enemy on a suitable occasion, when there was panic and confusion, Rana Sanga left Busawar and reached near Kanwa on the 13th of March, 1527 with an immense army that exceeded the numerical strength of his adversary. He occupied the position by the 17th of March, 1527 near Kanwa at a distance of 4 miles from Babur, who too was encamped close to a hill not far from the village of Kanwa. The showdown was inevitable. Stay tuned and watch the next part of this series for the final showdown. Please like, comment and share the video and subscribe to the channel to support us. Until next time.